Welcome to The Human Experience, a podcast about the stories we live out every day and the importance of championing the vulnerability and courage of the storyteller. I'm your host, Jennifer Peterkin, and it was through my own lived story of experiencing domestic violence that this podcast was created. By traveling the globe and interviewing each guest in person, I am convinced now more than ever that stories have the power to change the world. You can join our community of storytellers by subscribing, leaving a rating and review, signing up for my newsletter, following me on Instagram, and more. Thank you for being here. In a world full of noise, to listen with intention is an act of resistance.
Names are such an interesting thing because, like, my last name is Peterkin, and it's phonetic. Like,
yeah.
And the combinations people come up with for it is like, I don't.
How did you get there?
Yeah, how did you get there? Yeah, so Jalisa.
Yes, Jalisa.
Which is a beautiful name.
Thank you.
We're in Maryland. Thank you so much for sitting down with me to chat about your story. I'm thrilled to hear about your life and your story and how it's made you the person that you are. I'm your first in-person interview.
Yes, you are. So I'm very excited to be here. I've been telling people about it. Like, I have my first in-person podcast interview.
I'm so happy to be your first. I love that. That's just fun for me. But this is not your first podcast.
No,
by any means.
I've probably done over 100 by now.
Yeah. You're a professional, basically, which is good. That's great. Good for you for doing, your work and for speaking and telling your story. I think it's a huge part of being human. So with that being said, if I ask you where does your story begin? What does that mean to you?
To me, so I'm actually reading a book about storytelling.
Are you?
Yeah. And
this is perfect.
Yes. And it means not only where I began, like where my life began, but how the story of my life began and how it impacted the world. My inner world, my family, and the world at large, because I truly believe they were all connected. So when you ask that question, where did your story begin? That for me is like, when I entered the world, how did it change?
Yeah, I love that. So when you tell your story, where do you start?
At my conception.
Okay, I love it. Let's go.
Because my brand, so I'm Jalisa, but I'm also known as Jalisa the Golden Child. And people are like, where did that come from? And that came from my conception story. At the time of my conception, my parents were actually in the process of getting a divorce.
Oh, wow.
And, still being married, doing what grown people do.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I got you.
Here come I.
Uh-huh.
And at the time, my mom had already had difficulties with pregnancy. She had 2 miscarriages before me. She had my sister three and a half years before, but it took her 10 years to get pregnant with my sister.
Oh, wow.
So her fertility journey was very traumatic, very tumultuous. So with me, I was pretty much like a welcome surprise.
Hello.
And at the time, they had already expected for her to have difficulties with the pregnancy because she hadn't carried a pregnancy to full term. Even my sister, she was born at 4 pounds, 4 ounces.
Wow.
So with that, she got through the pregnancy to about 3 or 4 months to where they did the genetic testing and all of that. And they said, I'm sorry to tell you, but your baby is going to have Down syndrome. Okay. 6 months into her pregnancy, they tell her, we've done, your ultrasound, and we see some things on your ultrasound that are concerning. Your baby's going to be born without a stomach, and their esophagus and windpipe is going to be fused together. And, of course, you see the images right before your eyes. There's no denying it. And she chose to believe that there was going to be a different outcome, even despite what she saw, despite the test results. And she decided, being a woman of faith, she went to a revival, let them know what was going on, had them pray over her. And she said the only thing she remembers is feeling like she was being lifted off of her feet and that God was pouring gold into her stomach.
Wow.
And when she went back to the doctor, they couldn't find anything wrong with me.
Oh, my goodness. When you started about like, your life changed. Yeah. Okay. I got you. I'm on the same page now. Yes.
So my entrance into the world literally shifted things for so many people that may have had disbelief, that may have had other beliefs, that may have doubted even my mom's pregnancy journey, that it was going to result in a baby. Because they told her, they said, your baby's going to need multiple surgeries to even have a chance at life. If you make it to full term, there was a lot of ifs, there was a lot of ands, there was a lot of buts. And she was like, you know what? I hear you, but I'm believing for something different.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm the golden child today.
Yes, you are. Yes, you absolutely are. So you said revival. Was it Pentecostal or was it something different?
I believe it was holiness
Okay.
denomination.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not super versed in different denominations. So, I mean, I grew up in non-denominational / Baptist churches. So I know that like a lot of revival stuff, the charismatic church a lot of it was born out of Pentecostal stuff, but isn't currently Pentecostal. I'm going to stop talking because I don't actually know what I'm talking about. Just to say that I know there are different denominations that practice charismatic traditions and, revivals. So was your mom a part of a charismatic tradition before this, or was this like I've heard about this and I'm going to go seek it out? No,
she was like in the church where we literally have a line of pastors, bishops, preachers. Like it was literally like I could have almost been born literally inside of the church. That's how much time she spent in the church.
Okay. All right. That was her home.
Yes.
Yeah. She was coming home for sure. Yeah. I mean, that is great faith. That is incredible. So, I mean, when your mom saw that, was she surprised, or was she like, yeah, like this is the outcome I believed in? Like I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think at all she was surprised.
Yeah,
I think she knew from the very beginning. It was like, you know what? Like I had my first baby after 10 years of trying. They said, I wouldn't be able to carry her. Didn't necessarily carry her to full term, but she was alive and well.
Yeah.
So for her, it was like, you know what? This is just another testament of faith and what God can do.
Yeah. So you come into the world. Are your parents still in the middle of divorce at that point?
They sort of reconciled.
Okay.
For the sake of raising another child together. But they were separated for the first 5 years of my life before coming back together.
So you come into the world. Obviously, everybody's life changes for multiple reasons. What does your story look like now that you're officially in the world?
Yes, having to be born with resilience. The story didn't end there. I had to continue to build on that muscle of resilience. Mentioning that my parents were separated, there were a lot of reasons that my parents were separated, and they probably should have stayed separated. But wanting to make things work for the family, for the kids. And my sister had a deep attachment to our father. And at the time, she had stopped talking because she wanted daddy back home. So it was a lot of things that my mom was going through in addition to the pregnancy, in addition to my father and his shenanigans. It was just a lot for her. And to still have that type of faith to believe that, regardless of what these test results say, I'm going to continue this journey of faith and belief and know that my child is going to make it into this world. So dealing with that, seeing what my mom went through with my father growing up, being a married single mom.
Yeah.
And watching how she sacrificed so much for us. Because not only was she had the experience that she had with her pregnancy, I was diagnosed with asthma, but they didn't know that's what it was until I was about 3 years old. So I was in and out of the hospital. She was trying to keep jobs, but had to keep running back and forth to the hospital. So I think she lost 2 or 3 jobs because I was in and out of the hospital dealing with asthma until they really figured out what was going on.
wow.
So
That's got to be extremely scary.
yes. So in addition to that, on the health front, I was being exposed to things that I shouldn't have been exposed to. Pornography at the age of 2.
Oh, wow.
And from there, it was like I feel like a black hole was opened up. And it led me to so many different experiences, traumatic experiences growing up, trying to close that hole, trying to fill that void with things, with people, with unhealthy relationships, with drugs, with alcohol, with work, with school, with trying to do all of these things just to fill that void.
Yeah.
So for me, being able to share my story is a part of my healing journey. It's a part of that reminder of how resilient I've been. Because life can happen at any moment. And this week has been a whirlwind of a week. And I'm like, you know what? I was literally born with resilience. I was made for this.
Yeah.
So for me, being able to still show up, being able to share my story is a reminder that everything that I've gone through, it wasn't in vain.
Yeah.
So that's why I do so many podcast interviews to share my story, because it's like, yes, it's for me, but it's also for those people that don't necessarily have a voice or even have words to put to their experiences to say, like, this is wrong or this isn't what I desire for my life. I want something different. I'm going to do something different.
Yeah.
So for me, I was literally born with resilience, and I've had to continue to build that muscle to this day.
I love that. Yes. Born with resilience. That is quite a title to live under. I love that. If you don't mind talking about it, I would love to just go into a little bit. I feel like we're at a point right now where there's a big conversation around pornography, especially children's access to pornography. And I know that it's been something that has always existed, but it's never been easier for people to access. It's never been easier for children to access. And so I think, it's something that has become a larger conversation because of that. So you were such a young age, and I'm assuming an adult introduced that into your life. No?
So my father, I mentioned, they were separated, but his stuff was still at the house. He's had an addiction since probably he was a kid.
Okay.
And at that time, it wasn't on a computer. It was magazines.
Yes.
So kids are going to get into stuff. My older sister, we're only 3.5 years apart. So she was 2. I was 2. She was math. 5. 5.5. And, once she saw them, she showed them to me. But not only that, there was I try to use like different terms, but a generational curse essentially of being exposed to pornography, of incest, of perversion that my sister was experiencing that we didn't know about until years later.
Oh, jeez.
Because she was being sexually abused by our aunt and her god sister. And my mom, she was very, very overprotective of us. But she was more so focused on the male cousins, the uncles, the brother, like all of that she was focused on. She wasn't even thinking that it would be a woman or a female.
Yeah.
So for her, it was kind of like she was blind to what was going on. Yeah. So in addition to being exposed to pornography as kids, she's dealing with what she's dealing with. And whatever they were doing to her, she was coming home and doing to me. And this started at the age of 3. So these experiences literally opened me up to a world that I had no business being a part of. My innocence was literally snatched from me, but it wasn't in a malicious way because she was a kid too. Yep. She didn't know.
Yep. And she only knew what she was being taught and shown. Yeah. I do agree with the word that you used in the generational curse. I think generational bondage is something that does get talked about somewhat in, faith traditions, in some faith traditions, but not enough. And there is science. There's a whole field of science dedicated to how our DNA...
Epigenetics.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I don't have to tell you. A whole field of science dedicated to that very thing, how our DNA is altered and formed based on the traumas that our ancestors have experienced. And I 100% believe that. But to see that there is actual empirical evidence to point to is just it's almost mind-blowing at that point. But yeah, I mean, I think that it sounds like you are a cycle breaker, a curse breaker.
Absolutely. And my experience led to the freedom of my family. Because as I mentioned, it was a generational thing that nobody knew about. Nobody talked about. And for me, going through it, I didn't talk about it until I was 20, which, again, my mom was like an open book. She would talk to us about sex and all of these different things to, make sure that we were aware of what was going on in the world. Mm-hmm. But she never talked about what she went through in that aspect because why she was so overprotective was because she was sexually abused by her uncle. So that was why her eyes were focused on the men.
Yep.
So for her, she's like, I'm protecting them from the men. We're okay. We're good.
Yeah.
Not only dealing with that, with her own trauma that she experienced and trying to carry that baggage, dealing with what she went through with my father, his infidelity, his lies, his manipulation, all through the years, and trying to protect her children from something that she didn't even know was going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think it just also speaks to the fact that we can't put everything on parents because most of them are doing the absolute best that they can. Yes. Right? And you can't control other people. You don't know what you don't know. And I think that, again, there are parents out there that do not do the right thing. We know that. However, I think that most parents just want their children to be healthy, happy, whole.
Absolutely. And I know that my mom did the best that she could.
Yeah.
I definitely had to work on forgiveness because I did blame her. Like, why didn't you know what was going on? Why didn't you see? Why did you allow people to label me as angry or as promiscuous or as fast or whatever instead of trying to see what happened to me? Not what was wrong with me, but what happened to me.
Yeah.
But again, she was dealing with her own stuff that she couldn't even see past in order to be able to give me the help that I needed. But when I turned 20 and I finally told her what was happening, she was so devastated because she's like, I tried to protect you. She's like, I never would have thought that was going on.
Yeah.
She said, but I had so much going on with trying to keep our family together, figure out what was going on with your father, keep you healthy in and out of the hospital with you. Yeah. Like, it was just so much that, of course, things are going to be missed.
Yeah.
And at the time, knowing how my mother was and how protective she was, a mama bear, if she had known, we probably would have had to figure out who was going to take care of us because she would have been in jail.
Yeah. 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 Hey, I believe that 100%.
So it was like that, me going through that experience and being the one willing to talk about it, open her up to be able to share something she had never shared ever in her life. And for us to know what was going on with my sister because she didn't share. We had no clue.
Okay. So your sister was doing things to you because she was emulating the things that were done to her. Mm-hmm. How long did that last for you?
Until I was 13.
Oh, wow. Okay. So at that point, you just knew that she was doing this to you. You didn't know what was being done to her?
Mm-mm.
Oh, gosh.
Nope. I had no clue until I was 20 and I started to talk about it. And my mom had a conversation with my sister and she's like, yeah, this is what happened and this is who did it. And even from there, my mom, like maybe one or 2 weeks later, went to a family reunion with her side of the family. And she opened up about the uncle because, of course, that side of the family, he was either going to be around or maybe not. But she let people know what was going on, and like it was like the Me Too movement, literally. Like he did it to me too. Boys, girls, cousins, aunts, like it was literally like people had not said anything all of these years.
Yeah.
And me opening up and sharing about it gave people the freedom to say, you know what? It happened to me too.
That's amazing. I actually have chills right now. I work in domestic violence advocacy, and it's one of the reasons that I think stories are so important, because when we shine a light on this type of thing, we are able to connect our experiences and know we're not alone. But the shame is able to be chased away because you're able to realize that it's not your fault, that this was done to you, not with your consent, and not because, you did anything wrong. So I applaud you so much for being so honest about your story and for having the bravery and the courage to tell your family, because that is not an easy conversation to have, no matter who it's with. But to be the first one to step forward and say, like, we're not doing this anymore. Here's what's happening. This is why things have gone down the way that they have. How did that feel for you to kind of like see the dominoes fall after that? Like so many people around you echoing your own experience.
It inspired me to continue to share my story. I went to school at Coppin State University in Baltimore, and that was where I really started my healing journey, because I had a therapist on campus, and I knew that I wanted something different for my life. And with therapy being taboo in my community and my family, it was like I'm kind of doing it on the low.
Okay.
Like not letting people know. But it was like having that experience and being able to work through, that was the first place where I actually was able to tell someone what happened to me. And from there, I had a college friend who was now my ex-husband, but that's a whole nother story.
Part 2.
Talk about domestic violence. That's a whole nother.
Okay, all right. I'm so sorry.
It's a whole nother story. But I know that everything that has happened in my life was for a reason, even my meeting and encounters with him. Because had I not had that friend in him at the time, I would have never opened up about it in therapy or to my parents. Because when I finally told him about it, he was like, you got to tell your mom. And I was like, you're probably right. But but I finally, had that support to be able to open up about it and start talking about it so that I could be the one to break that generational bondage for my family.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine the devastation that your mom felt when you came to her with that. But it was necessary. And the fact that you have been able to move forward in healing, and earlier you mentioned your mom and your sister. So I'm assuming that you guys have really been able to work through a lot by doing the work and processing and healing and forgiving.
Yes. Actually, prior to my divorce, my ex-husband and I bought a house with my parents. Because for me, I truly believe in generational housing, generational living situations, because it's like at some point when your parents get older, they're going to need you. So one, cut out some bills. And cut out the back and forth. We were like, we're just going to buy a house together. And my sister and her husband bought the townhouse next door.
Okay.
So we were able to work through that to an extent. People have their own healing journey. People have their own work to do. But for me, I learned from that experience to forgive even without any acknowledgement. And to even know that what her experiences were and why she handled the situation the way that she was, because it's like she really wasn't to blame. Yeah. So for me, that was a part of my healing journey, remembering that forgiveness is for me. Not for the other person. And even if it's never acknowledged, even if it's never, we never have a conversation about it, it is what it is. It's material for the masterpiece that I am and that my life is. So I use it as such.
Yeah. Now, did you continue in therapy for a while, and was that a catalyst for your healing?
Absolutely. I've had multiple different therapists since college to support me with the different things, because not just that, I've had so many different experiences, traumatic experiences. That's why I say I've literally had to. I was born with resilience because I had to be. I needed it for my life's journey.
Yeah. God was like, this is just the beginning.
So for me, it's like when I wrote my first book in 2018, and that was another part of my healing journey of being able to share my experiences from conception to, I think I was 23 or 24 at the time that I wrote that book. And a lot of it was just really being able to be open and transparent about the parts of my story that a lot of people didn't know. Going back to that porn, my addiction to porn that people didn't know about, that I didn't ask for. Yeah. Yeah. But it wasn't something that, even in the church, that people talk about. They'll tell you, oh, it's wrong, it's this, it's that, but you don't know the root of it or where it's coming from or how I even got exposed to it. So for me, it was a lot of covering up. I became a licensed minister and all these other things, all these other accolades, got my degrees, all these things, but people didn't know underneath all of the things that I was working to heal from.
Yeah. Shame is so destructive. And, especially that pornography is such a shame-based thing, especially in the church, of just like, it's treated as though it's something like other than, like it's a whole other level, right? And there's really so much nuance to why somebody is struggling with that, right? And so, like you're saying, you did not expose yourself to pornography. You were exposed to pornography and were exposed to sexual things before you even knew what that was.
What it was, didn't even have a word for it.
Right. Yeah. So I think you're right. I think that by speaking about it without shame and being able to tell your story and to not, beat yourself up about it is something that's really important when you are looking for other people to be able to share their story as well.
Absolutely. Because I truly believe, like I said, everything happens for a reason. And for me, I do my best. Yes, I take responsibility for things, but the things that are within my control.
Yeah.
The things that have happened to me that are outside of my control, there was nothing I could really do.
Yeah.
So for me, I did definitely have to work through releasing that guilt and that shame about what happened to me, because I did at some points in my life blame myself, because it's like, okay, I shouldn't have put myself in that situation, or I should have said something sooner, or, I should have known better. But like you said about our parents, we do the best that we can with what we have.
Yep, absolutely. And I think too, personal accountability is extremely important. We have to be able to take accountability for ourselves. But I also think sometimes accountability, especially in trauma-based situations, we can take accountability for things that aren't ours to hold because it makes us feel as though we have a little bit of control over the situation, right? But we don't. So while personal accountability is an important part of growth and healing and living in health and function, we also need to learn to put things down that aren't ours to carry, because we have no control over it either way, right?
Yes. We carry so much weight that is not ours to carry by choosing to try to hold on to things that were outside of our control.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm even still learning.
Oh, that is a lifelong lesson. Lifelong lesson. That does not stop, for sure. Please. I can say I know all the right things.
Yes.
Therapy gave me the words and the tools. But living it out is a struggle daily.
When you have those experiences, you're like, you could literally look at the situation having hindsight. Like, I knew what to do. I knew what not to do. I knew, like, but it's like, it's easier for us to give advice to other people going through those situations than it is for us, because it's like, how do you see the picture when you're inside of the frame?
Sure. Absolutely. And advice, but also grace and compassion.
Yes.
Like, it is so easy for us to extend that to other people. But we sit and admonish ourselves into oblivion. And, how are we supposed to get healthy in that mindset?
Yeah. And I think for me, it came from, my mom is a perfectionist.
Okay. Yep. I'm one of those. Not my mom, though. My dad.
I was going to say was, but like she still has her ways. Mm-hmm. But growing up, it was expectations based off of how I performed in school. Like, I was a straight A student. So if I would come home with straight A's and a B, she's like, what is this? Like, what
Get
does
it
this
together.
mean? I'm like, I passed everything. So for me, it was just ingrained that it always had to be A work with everything. So trying to navigate trauma, trying to navigate relationships with guys not ever seeing a healthy relationship. Mm-hmm. There were so many mistakes I made that I beat myself up for, but I had to learn. Like, I'm learning. Like, this literally, like, if you have a baby, they're learning to walk. They're going to fall 1,000 times before they figure out, oh, this is what I need to do to walk and not fall. And even then, my daughter is a little clumsy, so she's 4 and still falling, but still.
Yes. I mean, I'm 36 and still falling,
so it's like,
ever go away.
There's always going to be opportunities for you to learn. Yeah. Whether it's a mistake or not, those are opportunities for you to learn. And I learned to see them as that way. Yeah. Instead of seeing them as mistakes, instead of seeing them as failure, I learned to see them as opportunities to learn and grow.
Yeah. So important. So why was therapy something that you had to do on the down low at first?
As I mentioned, being in the church, they tell you, oh, pray about it, go get delivered, go do these things, the blessed oil, all of the religious but spiritual things as well. Yeah. But for me, and having this idea or belief that, okay, if I need therapy, God isn't enough. Being given this belief.
Yes. Inheriting that belief. Yes.
So I had to really work through that to see that having suicidal ideations, having alcohol addiction, and abusing drugs, like, those were things that going to church, praying, reading the Bible, it wasn't enough. Yeah. So for me, having the opportunity to go to therapy on campus, and it was an event that they had, that the therapy center had, and I went and I just kind of started to see the possibilities. And from there, it was like literally probably one of the best decisions I ever made. Yeah. And even to this day, my mom is like, you don't need therapy.
Really? Okay. It's like, can I remind you, though, like, what started all of this?
So she's never been to therapy. Okay. My dad has never been to therapy. But again, that for me, like, she's more accepting of it now, because for her, it was about feeling like she screwed up with her kids. For them to need therapy, like, it was her fault. And
she carried so much guilt, or probably still carries so much guilt and shame that, again, isn't hers to carry, but I understand as much as I can.
So the church experience, my mom, the Black community in general, I hadn't had family that say, oh, and I went to therapy, or it was no example of going to therapy. Yeah. In any of the environments that I was in.
Again, like, good for you for your courage to just do it anyway, because that's a lot of influence to say, like, yeah, nah, like, I'm good without it. or to even just say, like, it's going to be too hard to explain this to people. I am a huge fan of therapy. I think it's extremely important. I think that there are different modalities. There's, not every modality works for everyone. But I think that when you do decide to invest in yourself like that, it's not a magic fix. It's hard work. But it's equipping you with tools that you will be able to use for years to come.
Yeah. And even with that, it's trial and error, because the first therapist you get may not be a good fit.
100%.
Their modalities, the way that they perceive things, the way that you interact with each other. So for me, again, I had to be reminded, okay, just because it didn't work out with this therapist, doesn't mean that therapy doesn't work.
Yes. And that's hard. That's a hard thing, because a lot of times just to get to therapy is such a push. It's really defeating to feel like the therapist isn't a good fit. And then it just feels like, well, therapy doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And that's not true. But it's hard to find a good fit sometimes. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Especially when, for me, the people closest to me let me down.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's easy to say, oh, well, this is just another person that's let me down, or another thing that's let me down.
Truly.
But for me, it's like, again, going back to that resilience, like, look, I'm going to figure out and find what works one way or another.
We're doing this. We are getting healthy.
Like one way or another, no matter what I got to do, no matter what I got to figure out, no matter what I got to try, I'm going to do what I need to do for my healing.
Yeah.
Because I knew that one day I will be a mom. And that for me was one of my biggest motivators, because I didn't want to continue these cycles of dysfunction and toxicity with my children.
Yeah. So you have this conversation with your mom at 20. When do you get married?
I was 28.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So I met my ex-husband in college.
Mm-hmm.
I went to college at 17.
Okay.
I graduated high school a year early. Again, the overachiever.
That is coming through.
Yes. And we started dating. I started school in 2008. We started dating in 2011. And we were off and on from 2011 until I think 2016 or 17. And again, dysfunction.
Yeah.
I was so used to it. It was like, oh,
yeah,
this is
normal.
This is what I'm used to. We can do this. Like,
yeah. Now, was that apparent before you got married, or did it really only show its head after marriage?
I used to think red flags were a party, so it was apparent.
That is fantastic.
So it was like, hey,
I used to think red flags were a party.
This keeps life spicy. Let's do this. Green flags are boring. So
yeah.
The red flags were the party. So for me, it was like, I saw them.
Yeah.
But it was like, I've been through so much. It's like, what's something else?
Yeah.
And we had history. We built a friendship, and that was nothing like I had ever had in any relationship. We were friends first before anything. Mm. And for me, hoping that things were going to be different, thinking, okay, he's nothing like my dad. We built the friendship. We built the bond. I knew his family. He knew my family. Let's try something different. Mm-hmm. Quote, unquote, different.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he was a whole bag of the same dysfunction and toxicity.
Yeah.
But I saw it. I definitely saw it. I noticed it before. But again, it wasn't as bad as my previous relationships. It wasn't the physical abuse. Mm-hmm. It was the mental, emotional.
Which?
So it was like, I thought at the time, well, I can handle that. We'll work through that. But now, realizing and understanding the impact that the mental, emotional, verbal abuse has, mm-hmm. Now I know it's like, I don't know if I would pick one over the other.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard because, you can get most people to agree with you in as far as physical abuse is concerned, right? You can get most people to say like, yeah, he hit you. That is absolutely abuse. You should leave. The other is such a mind, whatever.
I know what you wanted to say.
It's like she goes to church. I can't say it.
Look, you say it, okay?
That's okay. It messes with your mind so much that it's not just the abuse itself, it's everything that comes after it. Mm-hmm. And the abuse itself is bad enough. It is just as bad, if not worse, than the physical abuse. But then you have the added thing of having to qualify your experience to people who don't believe in what you went through.
Yes, because he was you involved with the youth, involved in ministry at the church, all these different things, all these different activities and volunteering he was involved in. No, not him.
Yeah, never.
Of course, no. There's no way you're going through that.
Yeah.
Even my mom, when I started to actually tell her what was going on, she was like, "Are you kidding me?" She was like, "I never would have thought."
But she believed you.
Mm-hmm. She definitely believed me.
Good.
But it was like, she was like, "I never would have thought that's what you were going through."
Yeah.
With him. Because in the very beginning, when she met him, she was like, and that was one of the reasons why I decided to go ahead and get married. One, because she didn't really know everything that was going on.
Sure.
But she said to me, she said, "Nobody's going to love you the way that he does." And her knowing the past experiences that I had in relationships, I'm like, okay, let's try to work this out.
Sure. And seeing the best parts of him. And yeah, because it's not all bad. Mm-hmm. If it was, nobody would get married. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, people aren't stupid. Yeah. Now I'm going to get on my soapbox about domestic violence. So let's maybe not do that. So how long were you married?
We were married for 4 years. The last year we were separated. That was a whole whirlwind of things. So you asked, did I see it before we got married? I definitely saw it. The last encounter that we had while we were dating, I've always been very spiritually in tune. So when I know something is going on, God will show me. Mm-hmm. So for me, every single time it was another woman or something else that he was doing, I would see it. So the day that, this is while we were dating, he comes to pick me up. We live about 45 minutes apart. And he comes to pick me up, takes me back to his house so we can spend some time together. And he goes to the bathroom and something tells me to go through his phone. The things that I saw, I immediately was just like, take me home. Mm. Like, we're done. Like, there's nothing else here for us.
Yeah.
Like, the back and forth, the off and on dating, it was like, this was literally just like, we're done. It's nothing else for us here. And him being who he was, he's like, this wouldn't be the problem if you didn't go through my phone. Not what you were doing in your phone.
Right.
Not the inappropriate conversations you were having with other women. None of that.
Never that.
So it was a whole argument, blow up, and I can be very petty. Especially when you know that you're wrong and you're trying to make it seem like I'm the one in the wrong. He had his video game. He's like going through the house, like he's yelling and screaming and having his temper tantrum, trying to make me feel guilty for going through his phone. And I'm like, just take me home. He's like, no, get out. He goes upstairs to talk to his mom to see if she can get me out the house. I'm like, you picked me up and brought me here. I don't have a way home.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to call the police, get out my house. So what I did was, he had his video game on the stand. And what I did was, I didn't throw it. I just put it on the ground and made it seem like I did. And I just leave the house. One of my sorority sisters, she lived not too far. I went outside and I called her. And I'm like, I'm about to catch the bus to your house until I figure out how I'm going to get home. And he comes outside. He's like, you threw my game on the ground. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I'm out of your house. Like, just please, just leave me alone.
Yeah.
And he's like in my face, like literally in my face, like yelling and screaming, has his fist balled up like he was going to hit me. And I'm like, just go in the house. Like, please just leave me alone. Like, I'm out of your house. There's no reason for you to be in my face. Like, you broke my game. I'm like, just go in the house and turn it on. Like, just please. So after that situation, my brother-in-law, he comes to pick me up and he's like, do you want me to handle him? And I'm like, no, just, he's not worth it. Let's just go.
Yeah.
And after that experience, I hadn't talked to him. It was probably a year. And one day I decided that I was going to get drunk on my birthday. You know, the drunk text. And ended up sending him a message. We reconnected. He apologized for everything. And that was probably one of the biggest mistakes in my life. Which now, having my babies, I know that it was meant to happen.
Yeah.
But I knew who he was and how he was. So to go ahead and get married, it was like, you knew. But again, we had built a friendship. We had built a bond. I loved him. Mm-hmm. Even despite all of the toxicity. I still had love for him. I still loved him.
Yeah.
So it was like, I knew that in any relationship there was going to be issues.
And that's what's hard. That is what's hard.
So I had to figure out if I was going to deal with his stuff.
Yeah.
Or the other stuff. So for me, it was like kind of picking the lesser of a few evils.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, we can. And then I had this belief that I didn't want to have my kids outside of marriage. So again, going back to my religion, mm-hmm. I didn't want to have my kids outside of wedlock. So I'm like, I knew that I wanted to have kids. And, you know, the pressure of, you know, the biological clock ticking.
Yeah.
My mom, like, when am I going to get my grandkids? All my friends have grandkids. Like, it was all these different things that led me to go ahead and say yes when he proposed without a ring and no real intention behind it. But still, you know, just, you know, just, you know, we live and learn.
Oh, yes, absolutely. But I get it. I mean, there is so much pressure on women, especially in the church, to get married and to have kids. And there's nothing wrong with getting married and having kids if you're doing it for the right reasons, right? But if you're doing it because it's a box you have to check or to fulfill somebody else's dream and it's not the right decision, you know, that's hard. But like you've been saying, the messaging that we've gotten is wrong. And it's hard because you do feel like you're lesser than if you don't take those steps, if you don't say yes. And, you know, they're also the first to say that marriage is hard and, you know, you have to sacrifice and suffer through it and suffer well. And so you're like, yeah, so this is the hard part. Yes. This is the hard that they were talking about. And it's like, it's not supposed to be that hard. Like, that's a different kind of hard that nobody should be having to deal with.
And I literally watched my mom do it my entire life.
Yeah.
My entire life, she struggled through infidelity and lies and manipulation and all of those things. But it was like, she didn't believe in divorce.
Yeah. Yep.
So she's like, I made this decision to get married. So what am I going to do? Mm. So she stayed. And that was for me. I'm like, okay, I can deal with it. You know, we'll be okay. I've seen my mom suffer through a whole lot. So I love him. We're going to make it work. Mm-hmm. And again, wanted to have kids. I now know that I wanted kids. I didn't want marriage. Mm-hmm. At the time.
Yeah.
It was like I wanted kids. I wanted my babies. But I didn't really want marriage because of what I saw my mom go through.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, if this is what marriage is.
Not for me.
You can keep that. Just give me my babies.
I hear you.
So for me, it was like, I saw the flags. I saw the dysfunction. I saw the toxicity. But I didn't know the extent of what it was until I got the therapist that I had after the therapist that we were going to couples marriage counseling with. Because I was trying everything to make it work. Mm-hmm. But what I realized was somebody who's toxic or, you know, the buzzword narcissistic or abusive, nothing you do will ever be enough.
Mm-hmm. The goalposts keep moving.
Nothing you will do will ever be enough. And I equated it to pouring water into a strainer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No matter how much water you pour into it, it's never going to fill up.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my relationship with him. No matter how much I poured into it, no matter how much I tried to change myself, no matter how much I tried to bite my tongue to not cause an argument, no matter how much I tried to fix things and do things the way that he wanted me to, nothing was ever enough.
Yeah.
So I had to get to the point where I realized that with the therapist that I was working with, and she helped me to really see the level of dysfunction in the marriage, because for me, it was like, this is what marriage is supposed to be.
Right. Yeah.
So she opened my eyes to see, like, this isn't love.
Yeah.
This is dysfunction. And you've learned to high function in dysfunction.
Yep.
She's like, you're raising your babies, you're doing all of these things with your business, you're doing the things. She said, but you've learned to be high functioning in dysfunction.
Yeah. Yep.
She said, you don't have to live like that. And that for me gave me the freedom to say, you know what? I want something different.
Mm.
And I wanted something different for my kids. I didn't want them to be in therapy 10, 20 years later. Like, why didn't you leave? Why did you stay?
Yeah.
And deal with that and give me that example of what a relationship is instead of leaving.
Yeah.
So going back to wanting to do something different and break those cycles, I made a decision, a very hard decision. I was a stay-at-home mom. Our kids at the time were 2, 1, and 1 month old.
Wow.
When I separated and I got a protection order against him, it was so much on that drive to get the protection order that I had to really swallow and realize that this was the end of something that I had envisioned being lifelong.
Yeah.
With my 1 month old baby in tow.
Were you able to get a protection order for you and the kids?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Making the decision to divorce is very difficult. I think people that haven't necessarily been through it think that it's the easy way out, when in fact, a lot of times it's actually easier to just stay. Because like you're saying with your therapist, you've learned to function in the dysfunction. You've learned what the boundaries are. And even though it's miserable, it's known. It's a known misery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Choosing to divorce and leave and make a new life is incredibly difficult because you don't know what's out there. You don't know what's going to happen next. And you have 3 small children in tow. So coming to that realization, coming to that decision is so hard. I think it's incredible that you got there, especially with how young your kids were. Did you have support when you made that decision?
I did.
Good.
That made a huge difference. And even going through that experience, I sought out more community and support, finding support groups and different communities to be a part of, because I truly believe that we heal faster and better in community than we do in isolation. I guess some things call for isolation for us to do, with ourselves and within ourselves. But for me, I really sought out that community and support because I knew that if I didn't have that, in addition to the support, it was accountability to remind me not to go back.
Yeah.
Because on those hard days when I'm trying to figure out how am I going to make sure that my kids have everything that they need, when he's made sure that financially he's not going to provide and help, I'm like, maybe I didn't make the right decision. Maybe I should just stick through it until, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, no. I was born resilient. I was born with faith. I was born with the belief that even though things may not work out the way that I wanted them to, especially in that situation, there was something better for me on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. So how far out are you from this divorce?
The divorce was finalized in 2023.
Okay.
That's a whole
Oh, I imagine. I can only imagine. But it's still pretty fresh.
Yes.
So I know what you're doing now is you have built a business, right? So were you already doing that, or has that been built since your divorce?
So I started my business in 2018.
Okay.
But everything, like I said, it was a whirlwind. I self-published my book in February of 2018. We got married in August of 2018. I did my book launch in February. And then immediately after, started planning the wedding.
Yeah.
Like, literally everything that I was pouring into the book launch and the book, I started to pour into the wedding. And everything happened pretty quickly because 6 months into us, after we got 2 weeks prior to us getting married, was when the physical abuse started to really come to its height of what it was. Because there were like incidents of him wrestling me or like certain little situations. But again, it wasn't like this situation. So I had finally come to the conclusion that we shouldn't get married. And we got into this big argument about it. And he starts packing his stuff. Like, I'm just going to go. I'm like, okay, let me help you. Like, let me help. So I packed one of the bags and I throw it over my shoulder and I'm walking down the sidewalk. We were living in an apartment at that time with my parents and my sister, her husband, and one of my brothers. So I'm walking down the sidewalk and he waits till I get away from the apartment. And he, like, hits me on the top of my head. I fall to the ground, and he, like, bear hugs me. And he's like, and I started screaming, and I'm like, somebody help me. Like, I don't know what this man is going to do. Like, and he's like, be quiet. You're going to wake up the neighbors. Da-da-da-da. Somebody's going to call the police. That's what I want.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the point.
That's absolutely what I want. Like, you literally just hit me on the top of my head. And the story that he told was that because I had on a bonnet and it was silky, he tried to grab me and it seemed like he hit me. You could have grabbed my arm. You could have grabbed the bag. You could have grabbed anything. You decided to grab my head.
Why is he trying to grab you anyway?
He's like, you shouldn't have touched my stuff. I was doing it on my own. You should have never touched my stuff. So that gave you the right to touch me. But that was a story that he told over and over to everybody. He was like, I would never hit her. I would never put my hands on a woman. I would never do such a thing. And the gaslighting and the manipulation. His brother came. His sister-in-law came. They're like, that's not him. He would never do such a thing. It was just a misunderstanding. You guys need to pray and work it out. We'll pray with you here.
You can't see our faces, but I think we're making the same face right now.
And they're like, hold hands, we'll pray. And I'm like, this is a hot mess. Like, this is really a hot mess. But to some degree, I'm like, he's told this story so many times. A part of me started to believe it. Like, maybe because I was turned around, I didn't see it. I can't verify. But I'm like, I know what I felt.
Yeah.
Like.
But you start to feel crazy.
Yes.
Yes. 100%. People think like, oh, I would never fall for that. And it's like, until you're in that situation and multiple people are telling you that your lived experience is not what happened, you can't say, how you would react to that because it's over and over again. It's not a one-time, the sky is green and, you just are like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It is a concerted and intentional effort to alter your reality.
Mm-hmm. And he's like crying. He's like, I would never do that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So we get through that. We pray. And it was like immediately like he was so upset with me that I had told what was going on. Mm-hmm. Like you can tell he was like literally like seething inside. Yeah. And I'm like, you're mad at me about something that you did. Mm-hmm. But you're mad because other people start to know what's going on. So after that, I went to my pastor who we were in premarital counseling with the entire time. He's like, Jalisa, I don't think you should get married. This is my pastor.
Good for him.
He's like, I don't think you should get married. Like, these are red flags. Like, you don't want this to continue inside of your marriage. He's like, yes, this may have been the first time, but I don't think this is the last time.
I'm so happy to hear that, truly, because I've unfortunately have heard so many other stories from church leaders and pastors within this context. So,
yes. And so he was very honest, and he told me, but I'm like, he's not going to let me not get married. Like, that was just, it wasn't an option for him, especially after that incident.
Yeah.
Because that would mean that what happened was actually true. Mm-hmm. So even after that, I had a conversation with him. I'm like, Pastor Jones doesn't think we should get married. He's like, we've invested all of this money. It's like right around the corner. Like, it'll never happen again. All of these things, all of these promises. And 2 weeks later, get to the church, and I'm standing in front of the door. My dad is walking me down the aisle, and I'm like, makeup, full face of makeup. I'm just crying. Standing at the door, he's like, are you sure you want to do this? He's like, we can turn around and walk away now. Because he knew what happened.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't have to do this. Somebody handed me some tissue. I dried my tears and walked down the aisle.
Wow. And
then 6 months later, I got pregnant with our first. 6 weeks after giving birth to him, I got pregnant with our second.
Oh, my gosh.
While our first was in the NICU, I gave birth to my first at 30 weeks and 3 days. So he was in the NICU for 45 days. During that time period, I got pregnant with my second. I went to my 6-week appointment pregnant and didn't know it until I was about 12 weeks along.
Oh, my gosh.
So it was literally a whirlwind.
Oh.
I didn't even have the chance to even settle into being married, to really seeing the magnitude of what I was about to experience.
Yeah.
Because it went from, okay, we're newlyweds, we're, new jobs, new this, doing all of these things, and 6 months in, I'm pregnant.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's kids add a whole different aspect into the mix, and it just, especially for you, for the mother, it changes everything. Yeah. I mean, I think it changes everything regardless of, your role, but especially for the mother who, especially if you're carrying the child, that's...
Yeah, and we think, kids are going to change him. After my first, and he told me, he said, I'm jealous of our son because you spend more time with him.
I was going to ask you. Yes.
He's in the NICU.
Yep.
What do you want me? You want me to leave my baby at the hospital to come and spend time with you?
Common.
That's how I ended up getting pregnant so soon, because I was trying to prioritize my marriage.
Yep.
While still healing from giving birth at 30 weeks and 3 days, and my baby being in the NICU, which was a traumatic experience in and of itself.
Yeah.
Giving birth and not being able to take your baby home. Then being plugged up to monitors and different things and breathing issues, like all of these things that I'm experiencing as a first-time mom.
Yeah.
Now I got to figure out how to not have my husband be jealous of our baby that we made together, who I named after him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It sounds so ridiculous, but people wouldn't believe how common that is. Yeah, it's crazy. And a lot of times... Here, now I'm putting on my domestic violence advocate hat. But a lot of times, if the red flags are not visible before this is when they come. But this is when they start. Mm-hmm. When after you give birth for the first time.
Yep.
Yeah. It's crazy. So, yay, you're gone. Hallelujah. You left. You made the right decision. What does that healing process look like for you?
The hardest healing journey I've been on is this one. To heal from someone that you can't get rid of. That you still have to deal with on a regular basis.
Yeah.
That has been one of the hardest things.
Now, does he see the kids?
Once a month or so.
Okay.
I ended up getting full custody after the whole divorce process. Didn't even show up to court. It was...
I'm glad that you got full custody. Do you still have a protective order against him?
No.
Okay.
No. The protection order was really for the kids.
Yeah.
Because as I mentioned, he was jealous of our son, who was his namesake, is his namesake. And when I started to get numb to his abuse, he became the scapegoat. And the abuse that he disguised as discipline, I had to really open my eyes to see what was going on, because I didn't want to believe that he was that type of guy.
Yeah.
Even though I knew what we had gone through. I'm like, this is your son. Like, our son who has your name. Like, I didn't want to believe that the incidents that he was saying was discipline or accidents was actually abuse until I literally saw it before my own eyes. When we had gone through, I went through a forgiveness coaching course. And at the end, with the facilitators, I got a forgiveness coaching session. And I let them know what was going on in the marriage. And they asked me, did I want him to attend the session with me? And I said, I was hesitant at first, but they eventually convinced me to allow him to come into the session. And I knew the level of manipulation and coercion that he could do. Because he, said all the right things. I forgive you for this. And can you forgive me for this? And like everything. But I just knew the intention and the feeling behind it was not there. And I had already been basically separated, because there was no physical, there was nothing, there was no hugs, there was no kisses, because I had already made up my mind that we were going to get a divorce. But there was, when I mentioned to him, I wanted to make it as amicable as possible. I mentioned to him the first time that I wanted a divorce, he threatened to kill himself in front of our 2-year-old.
Oh, jeez.
Said that he was going to jump off the balcony. The other time, he said that he was going to get me put in jail so they could take the kids from me. Another time was he wasn't going to help financially, which he didn't. And another time he accused me of cheating, saying that there was somebody else. So these were all of the things that I was experiencing, navigating, trying to get out. So I just decided, I'm just going to do this as quietly as possible. So that was when I reached out and found the therapist that I was working with, that I had been working with probably up until last year. But it was like, it could have been so much easier than what it was. But he made sure that I didn't get out easily. But at the last time when I finally decided to get the protection order, after the forgiveness ceremony, he says, okay, well, we've done the ceremony. Can I have a hug and kiss now? I said no. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
That sent him over the edge. And I knew it. So I said, let me get myself together, get the kids together. Let's go outside, go for a walk, go to the playground, go do something so he can calm down, because I already knew what was going to happen. So I go in the bathroom. I'm about to get in the shower, and I hear him yelling and screaming at the top of his lungs. And I'm like, who is he talking to like that? Our kids are 2, 1, and 1 month old. Like, who could you possibly be talking to like that? So I open the door and I look across to the bedroom, my kid's bedroom, and my 2-year-old is being squished in between the wall and the door, and he's pushing against the door. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's still flying off the handle. Well, he kept closing the door. He should have never touched the door. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? He's like, what you think you saw, that's not what it was. I wasn't pushing the door on him hard. I'm like, my baby is screaming, crying. Like, I know the difference between just get off me cry and I'm hurting cry. my baby was screaming in pain. So you're telling me that what I saw and what I heard was not the truth? Mm-hmm. He kept trying to convince me, getting louder and louder, screaming and yelling. And I called 311 because I didn't necessarily want to call the police because I didn't want there to be a bigger scene, mm-hmm. especially with the way that he was acting. So I called 311 and I asked them like what the process will be to get a protection order, mm-hmm. and to get him removed from the house. And they told me the process. They said I needed to find I think it might have been the weekend. I honestly don't remember. But they told me where to go, to the commissioner's office. And it just so happened that I didn't know where the one was in my county because we had just moved there. So I went to the one in the county in Columbia where I knew the commissioner's office was, mm-hmm. which was a blessing in disguise now, knowing how everything happened. And I ended up getting a protection order, but they said this one incident with my son wasn't enough. So they said, were there other incidents? And I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting there writing pages and pages and pages and pages of incidents. And I'm like, Jalisa, why didn't you leave sooner? Mm-hmm. You're on your third child with this man. Why didn't you leave sooner? And for me, I'm so grateful that my babies are here. But I'm not grateful that I chose the dad that they have. Hmm.
Wow. I'm just so... Your honesty about what you've been through and how you walked through it is really inspiring. It's something that I think, when we talk about personal accountability, right? Like that's what accountability looks like, right? It's not blaming yourself for the things that your ex-husband did because those are his to carry. You have nothing to carry for that. And accountability doesn't have to be regret either, right? Like you don't regret having your children. They're
not at all,
the lights of your life, I'm sure. But you can still look at that situation and say, I wish I had done something differently. And that's okay. That's life, mm-hmm. right? Like we don't do things perfectly as much as we would like to be perfectionists. We're not. I just really appreciate you being able to, in plain words, tell your story. I think it's so important and it's something that so many people can identify with on different levels, but just your commitment to speaking that truth from conception to now is really something special, truly.
Yes. So in short, that's why I'm the golden child. Because
I mean, I get it. It makes sense to me. So yeah, that's fantastic. So the business that you had started, what are you doing with it now? So what are you doing now?
Yes. So in 2018, I mentioned that I self-published my first book. I did self-publishing support. I was doing coaching, helping other people self-publish books at that time. And then I got my degree in natural health. So I started doing health coaching. And then I'm very multifaceted, multi-talented, multi-passionate.
I mean, I'm getting that for sure.
So then I got a certification in finance and I started doing financial coaching. But again, all of this was happening while I was going through what I was going through in my marriage, having my kids. So it was more of a start and stop. Okay. I got my Reiki Master certification. I did that, self-published another book as a collaboration. Like I've done all of these things business-wise, but the consistency and the determination behind it didn't really stick until after my divorce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fair.
I had a lot more light. I had a lot more passion. I had a lot more motivation and drive after doing the work that I had to do to heal from that experience. Still healing from that experience because, again, still things that I have to deal with from him on a day-to-day basis. But the version that I am now, I would never have been in that marriage. To be able to share my story, to be able to now write in another book. Now I really am, my mission, I'll share my mission, is to guide you to see and be your most authentic self. Release and uncover and release limiting beliefs and unleash the golden child within. So for me, yes, my brand is a golden child. People call me Jalisa, golden child, but I truly believe that every person is the golden child because we all have a purpose. We all have a calling. We all have a reason why we're here. When we're born, there's something that the world was missing that we filled that void for. Our story, our experiences, our background, even down to our DNA. It all has a reason. It all has a purpose. So for me, supporting and guiding people with uncovering the most authentic version of themselves through self-discovery and just really being intuitively guided with their experiences. Just being able to support them to say, you know what, I'm not my experiences. I'm not the labels that people put on me. I'm not the things that people did to me or said to me. So being able to help them to really take off those things in order to shine and show up as the golden child that they are, that's what I'm here for.
I love it. I think that you're well suited to what you're doing. And I think that, all of the things that you have walked through in your life have led you to this moment, right?
Absolutely.
Like you said, we're here for a purpose. So nobody has your specific, the thing that makes you you, right? Everybody has that. It's unique to them. And I agree. I do think the world needs that. So
Because people try to figure out and find out what their purpose is, what their calling is. And I tell people, your purpose is to be you. There's only one you in the whole entire world. And if you don't know who you are, you're not walking in your purpose. You're not walking in your calling.
Yeah.
So the more you can uncover your truest self and heal from the things that you've gone through and the experiences that you've had, the easier it will be to show up every day as your most authentic self.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's such an important thing to talk about too, because I think there are people that hear something like that and they roll their eyes like, okay, yeah, we're all precious. And I think it's important to acknowledge that, yes, we are, because when you talk about changing the world, it's rarely somebody that does so from a stage or a podium, right? I mean, even the people that have those platforms, a lot of them aren't changing the world. The changes that come are often from communities and from personal relationships. And so when you talk about being you in order to change the world, it's about who you encounter in your journey to affect their life, their path, and who you encounter on yours as well that will do the same for you.
Yes, absolutely. I truly believe that relationships are the true wealth and currency because at the end of our lives, we're not focused on the things that we've acquired, the degrees, all of those things. We're focused on the love of the people that are around us.
Yeah.
The relationships. Those things are really what matters.
Yeah.
So for me, being able to build relationships with people and help them to see themselves for who they truly are, that is such a gift. And helping them to see that no matter what they've gone through, and I know that's why I've had so many traumatic experiences, because it's like people look at me every day like, how do you continue to show up? How do you continue to be there to support other people with everything that you've gone through and still have your sanity?
Yeah. Yeah. For real.
So it's like that makes it so worthwhile when I see someone's light come back into their eyes.
Yeah.
Because now they know that it's more to their story. Now they know that it's more to their life than the things that they've gone through, the experiences that they've had, what they experienced with their parents, what didn't happen, what did happen. All of those things really become material for the masterpiece that they are, than mess that they continue to kind of just sit in and say, this is what it's going to be.
Yeah. Material for the masterpiece. I like that. So I do have a question that I ask everybody at the end of each episode, which is, through the lens of your experience, what does compassion mean to you?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I think for me, a part of it is being able to put myself in somebody else's shoes and understanding, like we talked about earlier, that they're doing the best that they can with what they have. We've been conditioned to believe right is right and wrong is wrong, but you never know somebody else's experiences and what they believe or what they've been conditioned to believe, to say that for them, that might be the right thing to do.
Sure.
So for me, it's giving people grace, being able to be understanding of someone's situations and their choices, and still being able to show up and give them love. Despite, the choices or decisions that they've made, knowing that they're still a person and that they still deserve to be loved, seen, and cared for.
Absolutely. Perfect. Jalisa, thank you so much for your candor, your honesty, your laughter, even through all of it. You tell your story so well, and I hope you will continue to do so, because it's very powerful.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you for listening to The Human Experience. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe, share it with your friends and family, share it on social media, and rate and review it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can also support the podcast financially by going to my website, thehxpod.com, linked in the show notes, and clicking on Donate. It takes a lot of time and resources to create this podcast, so every little bit helps. Everyone has a story, and I'd love to hear yours. So be sure to check out the show notes for more information about how to stay in touch. Do good and love well.